Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Great to be with you. Happy Balls McWednesday, everybody. And hey, so this is fun. I like this right off the bat. First of all, Tom is here. He is good to go. I am here. Good to go. You're here. Appreciate you. Pre-recording today. A couple things work-wise, the reason, but here's the deal. It's great because coming up in a few minutes, in fact, in about 10 minutes from right now, we'll get you started. I've got Bryant McFadden on the program. Of course, you guys remember Bryant McFadden. You remember how good he was here and the career that he had with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the National Football League, and he's joining forces with us at warchant.com. I'm excited about that. And I'm going to be doing shows with him each week. And it's going to be a fun time because Bryant does really good work for CBS. You've probably heard him in podcasts. You've seen his videos. And now you'll see him with us every Thursday. And we need a name for the show. So Bryant and I are doing this show together. It's going to be a fixture on Warchant, and we just don't know what we should call it. And, he came up with some ideas. You'll hear him bring those up in the interview. I really didn't have a good idea. I mean, after all, I've been doing this show for over, 23, 24 years now, and it's just the Jeff Cameron Show. I didn't, he didn't have a name. I'm not good with that sort of thing. Tom's pretty good at naming things a lot of times, or creative ideas in general. It's a compliment that I don't mind passing to Tom, as he is good at these kinds of things. But yesterday when I asked you, Tom, you didn't have anything either. So hopefully our listeners will, and they will send it in. I don't know, what you want them to email you? Who do you want them to email?
They can email you, Jeff at warchant.com. Jeff,
come on, man. Why are we doing that?
Your name's on the marquee. Your name's on the marquee of the show. Not just this one, but that one. Okay. And also they can hit us up on the boards. We've got an announcement thread today on warchant.com. The social media is going there. So anywhere that you see this graphic that we posted that says new show alert, and then it's got the photos of the two principals on the show, that's a place where you can respond. Again, you've got yourself an NFL Super Bowl winning defensive back, former Nole, and you've got yourself the nearly 25 years. Silver anniversary is coming up.
It is, isn't it? It is 25 years. Jesus.
Yep. Yeah. Your silver anniversary, buddy. I don't know what we're going to do. That maybe the silver anniversary will lend itself to some sort of platinum bohica that year. It's kind of the same thing, right?
I had a guy say to me about a week ago that he's been listening for a long time, and he looked very young. And I thought, well, I wonder how long. And he said, as long as he can remember. And I said, how old are you? And he said, I'm 23, and I've lived in Tallahassee my whole life. And so I've just always had you on. My dad had you on. And that's really cool, and I always liked that. And then I thought to myself after I walked away, after meeting him and talking with him, I've been on the air longer than he's been alive. Mm-hmm. And that's a weird thing to say when you're not talking to like a 7-year-old. That's just weird. It made me smile. It's cool. I love it. I mean, I get paid to do what I love, and I love this city, and I love that university, and I love the listeners of the JCS, most of whom have been great over the years. And it's awesome, but it is weird when we start talking about 25 years. Goodness gracious.
I listened to the show in my teens, and I'm 36. So there you go. Yeah, I was an undergrad driving to Williams, no doubt, for an article and essay workshop class that I had, an evening class, because I always enjoy those 5 o'clock workshops. Everybody's brain was in a good spot, very creative spot. And I would hear stories. You would regale us about what was going on with the ineffective nature of the offense up top, downtown, and things like that. Yeah, yes. I remember.
Yeah, I remember those days too. I'm just so happy that these days, while we do the show, I've got nothing but positive things to say about this offense. I mean, I don't know how, objectively speaking, how could you not say great things about this offense right now? And we're just scratching the surface because they were really good last year, and they're going to be much better this year. I believe they'll be much better this year. I think Florida State, I mean this, and I keep talking about it, and it's so exciting to be able to do so, and I mean that genuinely. They got a chance to be the best offense in the country. They could be one of the 5 best offenses in the country. Let's put it that way. I said the only weakness of this team on offense is they don't have a crazy change the scoreboard, electrifying Peter Warwick type player at receiver. They don't have that. They have a problem receiver. Johnny Wilson's a problem receiver for people because of his size and how well he runs at that size, but he doesn't run away from people. And there are people who have corners that can single cover him. But he's a plus player. I think some of the other receivers are fun and they make you tough to match up against, but they're not change the scoreboard guys. And so that is the only weakness, because you've got difference makers now at tight end. You got depth for days on the offensive line, depth for days at running back, and you have one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, the balance on offense is going to allow for wide open matchups and one-on-ones that are mismatches, plain and simple before the snap. That's, easy for the world to see, let alone a quarterback who is well-versed in the system in Jordan Travis. And I think that's going to be the path towards creating a game-changer type player that you may not have, is because you're so balanced, the matchups will demand that you are going to be in a really good position. And the thing I'd say for me, the number one weakness, and Corey wrote this in his observations a little bit yesterday. He wrote it, so I'll talk about it. The middle of the offensive line at center, you're going to have to figure out some snapping issues. And that comes with training and development. And Casey Roddick is a player that they like potentially to play that position in battle with Maurice Smith. But beyond Maurice Smith, if they want to run drills and do so in a clean way right now, David Stickle is in there to snap the ball. Again, these are in the observations piece. You can find more of it on warchant.com. You got to cultivate a couple more options there. Whether that's Darius Washington for the 6th year rotating in at center in practice. He's cross-training across. We know that he's a Swiss Army knife, but you got to have more than one dude who is Power 5 capable, who can snap a clean football. And we're in March. We're not even yet in April. That's coming at the end of the week. So you've got plenty of time. But when you have to think about a weakness on the offense and you go as far as, we've got to have more players who can snap the football, that's a really good sign. Because 2 years ago, we were saying we don't have anybody who can win a one-on-one matchup on the outside. We can't block. The quarterback is not accurate enough between the hash marks. I mean, what would you say you do here? You've gone from what would you say you do here to, all right, I guess I'm being nitpicky, but ...
It's incredible. I had this discussion with somebody from the Battle's End, and we were talking about the roster. And I was kind of picking his brain and asking questions just about certain players and what it meant for the likelihood that other players might transfer, or how would we handle situations like this? Because it's all new for all of us. It's new for the Battle's End. It's not an organization that's been around for 2 cycles. So you do begin to wonder, and I talked about this yesterday on Seminole Headlines, I don't think we know just yet. We would all love to think that it's going to be kumbaya and everybody loves each other and the locker room is really a great place and people love being at practice and love working out together and being around each other. That's true of this football program. They do have good culture. But guys want to play, and football players want to play football. So you get it. They have too many people. That's a great problem at too many positions to think that they're not going to lose some of them. And I think it may be more than people realize. I know that I get a sense that some on this staff don't feel like they're going to lose, more than say two players. But I feel like Florida State could lose 7 or 8 guys by the end of spring. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, I think that 7 or 8 number is more reasonable when you backdate it to Trayshawn Ward and Malik McLean. I think if you backdate it to them, now you add McClendon. Yeah, I could see another 3.
So that's 3 right now.
I could see another 3 or 4.
Yeah, you could easily, right? Easily.
Well, you got to make the numbers work too. We got too many dudes here. And I don't know if in the modern era of college football with the NIL, if you could work around the 85, maybe you don't have your tuition paid for, but hey, it's a brave world. Maybe there are nuances to that rule that I'm not aware of, or it's a don't ask, nobody say anything, and we're going to take care of it kind of situation. But they got to make the numbers work. And there are obvious candidates. I think the offensive line is a place.
Oh, easily. I can name 3 guys right now.
Tight end is a place. Defensive back could be a place if you really look hard at it. Maybe even defensive line at a couple of. I mean, that's always going to be the case when you're operating where we want to operate. It's the case every year at Alabama, every year at Ohio State and Clemson. So, I'm not uncomfortable about this conversation. I embrace this conversation. It's where you want to be as a program.
Absolutely. You want too many good players battling for too few spots. Yep. That's a wonderful problem. Like, man, our third stringer is really good, and he would start for anybody else in this conference. Yeah, he probably will be. He's going to walk.
Yep, that's how Jermaine Johnson came here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, and I get it. Some guys, because it's true, some guys, we're seeing this with the basketball team right now, they're just happy being on scholarship at Florida State. They don't really care if they play. But that's a mentality you don't want. You don't want that. You want guys fighting at all times. You want battles. You want people to get after it. So I just feel like more and more for Florida State, you're going to see some guys leave and will be victimized in that sense by the portal in the way that we victimized other programs and our resurgence. So, and that's not such a bad thing at all. It's something that you just have to kind of mentally prepare for. All right, so Bryant McFadden is set to join us. We recorded this yesterday, just so you know, Bryant McFadden interview, that is. I love sitting down and start to get to know him. I interviewed him when he was here all those years ago, to bring it full circle, Tom, in 2004, and talked with him. I remember this on the sidelines. And I brought it up to him, but now here he is joining us on the Jeff Cameron Show. And then tomorrow night at 7:00 on Warchant TV, you can join us for another conversation, and you guys can chime in, ask questions, and it'll be fun. But we need a name. Send it to jeff@warchant.com. Feel free, fire away. We need a name, jeff@warchant.com. I'll get those emails, and let's make them tasteful somewhat, right? Let's figure something out. A name for this show with me and Bryant McFadden. All right, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bite Squad, local restaurants lose up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiestakeout.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. With Foodies Takeout and Delivery, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiestakeout.com.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Howdy there, folks. Jeff Cameron here, inviting you to join me from 1 to 3 each and every weekday afternoon. We're live and local thanks to great sponsors like FSUHomeLoans.com, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, FSUHomeLoans.com.
Hey man, have you heard the sound? The Calford Jewelry's the best in town. The rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. Pins out the jewelry store.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pintalta and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pintalta.
Pintalta Jewelry, Pintalta Jewelry, Pintalta Jewelry, home, the real nice price.
Hey, this is Dr. Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. If you have a pain in the neck, bring them to Finn Chiropractic because neck pain, low back pain, headaches, numbness, and tingling can make your significant other or family member very irritable.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. We developed the Phenomenal Health Exam to get to the cause of your problem. You can schedule your appointment at finnchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
Whether the pain is in your neck or someone else's, come to Finn Chiropractic.
Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Welcome back, Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. And if you're watching on Warchant TV right now, you see a familiar face. Look at that guy. You remember Brian McFadden running around Doak Campbell Stadium making plays? You remember him making plays with the Pittsburgh Steelers, winning Super Bowls? You see him on CBS Sports on the regular. You see him around town on the regular. He's always working with the Seminoles to help out. Now he's going to be working with us here at Warchant, and we're excited. I'm really pumped up to be able to talk to Bryant McFadden right now on the show and to be working with him coming up. Bryant, what's up, man? How you doing?
Jeff, what's happening? I'm excited as well. It's a great time to be associated with the Florida State Seminoles, especially on the football side of things, man. It's a lot of high, lofty expectations, and I'm so happy to be able to watch all of this unfold with you.
Yeah, we'll document it. We'll have opinions about it. We'll talk about it on the regular. Let me lay it out for everybody. So Bryant's joining us on Warchant, and we're going to do a lot more as the season gets underway. Right now in the spring, we're going to get together once a week and just try to talk 30 minutes. We'll do some interactive stuff with you guys, the fans that are listening. When you're in the chat, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. And really, just in general, we'll be kind of looking at the Seminole football team because I think, Bryant, we both know this is a team that has a chance to really take a huge step forward. They did last year. For the first time in a long time, Florida State fans are abuzz with the possibilities that this team could win. I don't know, the ACC could, if they were to do that, make the college football playoff. They got a stud at quarterback. They're loaded on the offensive defensive line. There's real hope back in Tallahassee. And so what a good time for you and I to be talking about what this team is and what they could be. In other words, to document the climb.
No question. And I think when you talk about Florida State fans, for such a long time, especially during the Bobby Bowden era, you were so accustomed to seeing high level of play. You were so accustomed to seeing championship-like play. And then there was a hiatus from that type style. And now you got an opportunity to witness and feel how it feels to be a fan of other universities that have not been as relevant as the Florida State Seminoles were in the late 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s. So now the fans are wanting, they're so hungry for that style of play. And for us to get to have some of those glimpses happen last year, the way how the season unfolded, how the guys finished, winning double-digit games. It's been a long time since we've been able to achieve that feat as well. And now with so many significant guys returning, the expectations are higher once again. So yes, man, this is a great time to be alive. Number one, it's a great time to be rooting for Florida State because, man, we can do something. We can all witness something extremely great based on what we have on the roster, collectively speaking, and how well these guys perform together and just their love for the game. I really love that. I really love seeing kids that showcase they love football because results will follow. And usually those results are all positive.
So for those that don't know also, Ryan and I have decided to do this show together, but we don't have a name for it. We don't have a name for it. We emailed back and forth. We're like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's all right. So we wanted to make it interactive to begin with. I'm putting it on you guys. You guys are listening to this segment right now. You're watching this segment right now. You guys are always good whenever we ask you for feedback, whenever we ask you to participate, or whenever we ask you to help out with charities that we're involved with. You guys come through with flying colors. So I'm going to ask you now. We're going to ask you. Throw it at us, man. You can email us. You guys will see it. We'll post it up here after the link goes up on Warchant TV and in the podcast. We'll have a place where you guys can vote on a name. Obviously, it's got to be something Florida State related. We're largely documenting Florida State. I mean, we'll kick it with the NFL and some other stuff too, but for the most part, it's going to be Florida State. And there's good reason, as we were just talking about. So feel free to make some suggestions for what the name of this weekly show should be. Hey, Brian McFadden and myself. And again, it's going to be on Thursdays. And so as you listen to this right now, it's a Wednesday.
Yep.
Tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Brian and I are getting together. That's Thursday at 7 p.m. You guys are all invited to ask questions. Probably spend 30 minutes, maybe more, just to see how it goes. And you guys can start asking questions to Brian McFadden about what he expects to see. It could be questions about what he's looking at in the secondary. It could be whatever you want it to be, pretty much Florida State related. And most of you are like me. Some of you are the younger demo, but a lot of you remember Brian's career at Florida State. You remember when he got drafted. By the way, let me ask you that. I do this all the time with folks that I know that had the opportunity to get drafted and went into the league. We do a draft party every year, Brian, on the Jeff Cameron Show. We go to an establishment. We have people come out repping their favorite, teams, and they got their jerseys on, and we all sit around and watch the draft. A couple of cold ones, eating some wings, and everybody's yelling at the screen as a guy gets drafted, and they're screaming at each other about which team failed, which team succeeded, even though none of us really know until a few years down the road. And we have fun with it. But I always wonder, and you got drafted in the second round. So what was it like for you entering into the draft? Like, where was your head at? What were your representatives telling you? When did you think you'd be drafted? Did you think it would be the Steelers? Take me through that process a little bit, because pretty soon we're going to be having that draft party, and I'd love to just pick your brain a little bit about what it is we're watching and what's it like for a player who gets drafted.
For me, it was an emotional roller coaster. You know what I mean? I say this all the time in regards to the draft, Jeff. There are only like 5 or 6 guys, players, prospects that are extremely happy with where they got drafted at. And it's usually the guys that go top 5. Mm-hmm. Everyone else, they feel some type of way. They feel like this shit gotten called earlier than when they were selected. So for me, I was hearing anywhere in the late first round, towards the end of the first round, early second. That's probably a realistic spot for me. And the first round happened. The end of the first round happened. Nothing happened. I didn't get any calls or anything like that. Early second round took off. Didn't really get any activity. And by that time, I was extremely frustrated. I was pissed. I was extremely frustrated, not to mention seeing so many defensive backs, so many corners get their name called, and I was just sitting and waiting. So towards the back end of the second round, I finally got that call. And I went from being emotionally frustrated to excited, but then pissed all over again. You know what I mean? Because I didn't think I was going to Pittsburgh. I never had any communication with Pittsburgh the entire time. The only time I spoke to Pittsburgh was at the combine. Even at our pro day in Tallahassee, I didn't have any one-on-one dialogue with the Steelers. So that came out of left field. And I remember when I got drafted to Pittsburgh, number one, I was pissed because I thought I should have been drafted earlier. Number two, I'm like, I'm going to freaking Pittsburgh? Who wants to go to Pittsburgh? Like, Pittsburgh is not a city where you just, hey, I got vacation time. Let's go to Pittsburgh, right? Jeff, no one is doing that unless you're from the area. No one says, hey, you want to go to a vacation, have a vacation? Hey, let's go pick Pittsburgh. No one is really doing that. And I remember my high school coach who was at my house, he instantly walked up to me, pat me on the back, and said, B-Mac, man, don't worry about it. I know you're mad, but you're going to an organization that competes for a playoff spot every year. At that time, Jeff, I wasn't hearing none of that. I don't care anything about any playoffs, man. I wanted to go to a nice location, a nice city where I can really enjoy being a professional player. I don't want to go to Gotham City. That's what I thought about when I thought of Pittsburgh. I thought of a gloomy city. It's never really sunny. It's always kind of misty, a little cold. Like, I'm like, I don't want to go to Gotham City. But he was right. You know what I mean? He was right. My entire time in Pittsburgh, man, we competed for championships. You know what I mean? Played in 3 Super Bowls, won 2. That town really embraced me. And I'm so happy I got drafted to Pittsburgh because I got an opportunity to really see what the love of football really looks like on a professional level. Having friends that play for other organizations, They didn't get the love we got in Pittsburgh. I mean, they treated us like royalty. You know, if you want some groceries, here you go. You want a car? Here you go. You want some furniture? Here you go. Like when we were winning, Jeff, there's nothing in the city we couldn't do.
Brian, this amazes me. It's so funny to hear the perspective because, okay, so first of all, I'm wearing a Pittsburgh Pirates cap, right? I'm a lifelong Pittsburgh Pirates fan from the 70s. I'm 51. I think you're 41. All right. So I grew up connecting to football when the Steelers and the Cowboys were the two best franchises in all of football. And they played each other in the Super Bowl in the 70s all the time. And in many ways to this day, if you think of, I don't know, 3 teams in the NFL, Pittsburgh is going to be one of the 3 that is named immediately. Facts. And that fan base is arguably the most passionate fan base in all of sports.
Man,
like,
listen.
Brian, we complain. I'm a Bucs fan. I'm from Tampa. I'm a Bucs fan. Never mind how I became a Pirates fan, but anyhow, I am. I grew up going to Bucs games. If you go to a sports bar in any city of America to watch your favorite team and it's not the Steelers, you look around and you're pissed because the bar is filled with Steelers fans. All Steelers fans, they're everywhere. So it didn't take you very long, I can't imagine, before you were like, oh, well, this could not be any better than being right here, right now with these folks.
Yo, Jeff. Oftentimes when we would travel as the road team, you don't usually hear the home team having to utilize a silent count because it's too loud. Like we used to travel, we go to certain destinations. We're the road team, but the stadium is filled with terrible towers. So when the home offense steps on the football field, they got to utilize a silent count because they couldn't hear the quarterback. That's how loud it was with Steeler fans. We go out to Arizona, Steeler Nation takes over. We go to Houston, Steeler Nation takes over. We go to Tampa, we go to Miami, we go to Jacksonville, we go to any spot where there's not like a Green Bay Packer-ish type vibe going on, or the Raiders or the Cowboys. Even in Dallas, we used to take over Dallas as well. It would be Steeler Nation. My first Super Bowl in Detroit, Super Bowl 40, playing against Seattle. The entire stadium was terrible towel out. That's it. And when we went, and my cousin, who's Patrick Peterson, he just signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I told him he's played with 2 other organizations in his career, Arizona, Minnesota. I told him, I said, listen, if y'all win, you will never experience anything like being a Steeler player ever in your life. Funny story, Jeff. 2011, which was unfortunately my last season in Pittsburgh. During training camp in August, we got a break from training camp, which happens in Latrobe, PA. Right. We all go back to the city to enjoy our off time, to hang out, get a bite to eat, blah, blah, blah. I ended up running a red light. Not on purpose, accidentally, I ran a red light. Cops come to the car. Oh, B-Mac, how you doing? Oh, man, I said, my bad. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize. Don't worry about it. You know, here you go. Gave me a little gave me like warning. a warning or something like that, man. Enjoy your off days, man. We can't wait to watch you guys get ready for the season, right? That's the type of love in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? By that time, we had already won 2 championships. So, heck, we can't even do any wrong, right? Yeah. So 2011 happens. I get injured, didn't really play a lot. Eventually, in the offseason in March, I got cut. I got released. I kind of saw it happening. Didn't play, my salary, blah, blah, blah. Nature of the beast in the business game. I get released in March. I'm living in South Florida. That's where I was living at the time. In late April, I get something from the mail from Pittsburgh. I'm like, what? I know this is not from the Steelers, because usually it would say the Steelers emblem on the envelope. I'm like, what is this? I get a citation from Pittsburgh saying I had an outstanding ticket that I never paid. So I'm like, what is this? And it had a picture of my vehicle and everything, right? So I'm thinking somebody's playing a trick on me. Like, man, did somebody have my car? Because we was in training camp. I totally forgot about the whole pullover incident in August. Long story short, because I wasn't a Steeler anymore, they issued me a ticket.
It's almost like they're like, oh, they cut him? Okay, let's write up that ticket. They cut him?
As long as I was going to be a Steeler, I probably wouldn't have saw anything in regards to that citation. But that's just how it is, man. And it was, it wasn't a major citation. I paid, took care of it. But I was like, wait a minute. They waited? They held on to that? Like, I thought I was good.
That's so good. Bryant McFadden joins us on the Jeff Cameron Show, and we're going to be talking with each other throughout the season, doing a show together on Thursday nights. I'm looking forward to it. Bryant, I'm curious. You were talking about building up and getting ready for the draft, and you mentioned the combine. I've always thought the combine looked like the most stressful thing I've ever witnessed. I mean, I love watching, these athletes are unbelievable. And some of the numbers you see from these things are just, you end up gobsmacked. But for you as a player, knowing your future, where you might get drafted, how much money you're going to make, all of it is on the line. What's that like? What's the combine like? Because I always see these guys that are able to perform in those moments, to block it out and to breathe and get the most out of their athleticism. And then other guys, you can almost tell like it's affecting them. They're not at their best the way they were on Saturdays in the fall, and they seem to be very aware of the moment. For you, Brian, how did you handle that? What was that like?
I really enjoyed the process because everyone, they don't get an invite to the combine. So it's a luxury. Right. It's a privilege, right? That's the first thing that you have to realize. Number two, it's the ultimate job interview. And, Jeff, it's no different than growing up, going and trying to get a source of employment for the people that are tuning in, checking us out. Your first job interview, your second or your third, you feel good as long as you're prepared. If you're not prepared, no question, you're nervous. You're a wreck. You don't know. You're uncomfortable because you're not prepared. But when you're prepared, you're ready to rock and roll. The drills they're going to give you. You know everything you're going to go through athletically. You know what I mean? Now, from the interview process, you don't know exactly what will be asked of you. But anything in regards to just football talk, you should be prepared for it. So I was prepared. Number one, now I can't say this because of not knowing what to expect during the interview process. You were overthinking a little bit, not knowing like which angle. Are they going to just ask me football questions? Are they going to try to figure out, I'm a little throw it off, or I'm this, I'm that. But anything in regards to just being football related, I mean, it was a great opportunity. You know what I mean? You done backpedal your entire life. You don't have to change anything based on that. You done broke on routes your entire life, playing that same position. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? You just got to do it on a larger scale, and knowing that everyone that you want to see will be watching you. So it was the most drooling process, I would say, is the medical. Because if you're a guy that dealt with a lot of injuries in college, you're going to be at the hospital for a long, long time. Everything that you injured in college, it can be your freshman year, redshirt year, whatever the case may be, they're going to do their due diligence to see, are you 100% healed from that? So that can be a very, very lengthy process. But outside of that, Jeff, man, it was a pleasure. It was definitely a pleasure.
You saw it as a chance to showcase. Yeah, so that's a positive way of looking at it. Like, well, here's my chance to shine.
No question.
You let me in. Now I'm going to show you. Yeah, so it's very proactive. How often do guys get into it in locker rooms about where they played? Because you've always
all the time.
Well. Yeah.
Listen, like on Saturdays, it's college football day. Usually for us in the NFL, if you're a home team, you still got to go to the facilities to do your Saturday walkthrough, right? Mm-hmm. For me, in Pittsburgh, my rookie year, I used to have to bring, at home games, we would bring donuts and breakfast food. At road games, we would bring, I think it was Popeye's chicken or something like that. But we would be in the facilities early on Saturday because usually if we travel, we didn't fly out until like 2 or 2:30. Mm-hmm. So that time, leading up from 9 a.m. to whatever time it was to depart to the airport, we in the facilities watching football. And then if we're the home team, we get there around 8:30, 9 o'clock. We're in the facilities watching until we go through our Saturday regimen. So yes, we talk big time. And then most of us, we love wearing our collegiate memorabilia in the facility. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that Seminole head used to be seen all the time in Pittsburgh. So yes, we talk trash a lot. I had some opportunities to talk a lot of trash when I was in Pittsburgh. And some of the years wasn't as good as Jeff. Course. But it's a big deal. It's pride. It's about pride. We're very, very prideful of the institution we played for on Saturdays, and no question. And it's a lot of haters in regards to Florida State.
Oh yeah,
man. Well, there's a lot of haters.
Well, if you're part of a program that has been a major player in the fabric of college football over the last 50 years, there ain't too many people that can line up their resume next to Florida State. There are a few, but not that many. So I can't imagine you heard too much from too many people. You hear from Miami, you might hear it, from Alabama down the line or something like that. But you're not going to hear it from too many people. Oklahoma could talk a little bit, but who's saying anything to Florida State?
No, exactly. And I remember my rookie year, at the end of the season, when I kind of finally imprinted myself into the lineup, I remember Bill Cowher telling me, he was like, because Bill Cowher didn't really talk to me a lot my rookie year. Mind you, I was a second-round pick. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I should have more dialogue with the head coach. I didn't really talk to him at all. But he told me at the end of the season, when we won the Super Bowl, I think it was during our playoff run. Whatever the case was, I was kind of, like I said, I was imprinted into the lineup. He said, I had to humble you because I know how you Florida State guys can be. So I'm like, what? I said, Coach, like, I haven't said a lot since I've been here. I'm a rookie. I have no reason to say anything because I haven't really done anything. And he's like, no, I just know how you guys are from Florida State. You play big time football. You kind of think you know everything in the football wise. So you've been superstars on that level. I just had to make sure you wasn't getting too big for your britches. Like, what? But that's how the mindset used to be from guys that come from Tallahassee. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. Did he at least give you some love when you picked off when you got your first interception against Jacksonville?
Oh, no question.
He talked to you then, didn't he?
He showed me a little love. He still gave me that sweet chin music where he just really didn't smile, but he had that real straight, long face, and he just was like, He didn't want to give me too much love because at that time I guess he didn't want to boost my ego and be like, here go to Florida State in him. But throughout the year, oh man, yeah, Coach Kyle, man, was my guy, man, and I really appreciate the tough love that he showed me as a rookie. Because that's something that I was used to coming from Tallahassee, coming from Mickey Andrews and how he coached us on the defensive side. Oh man, tough love was a necessity coming from Coach Andrews, and being able to utilize and have that mindset to be able to go through certain adverse situations prepared me for life in the NFL.
I always said, and I wonder if it was the same in your mind, that you can handle a coach saying, for an outsider's perspective, some of the things Coach Andrews would say to kids, and I was at practice, and I remember hearing some of those things. I mean, they're colorful, I mean, some of the things he'd say.
Hey, Jeff, Coach Andrews couldn't coach today.
No, he'd be in trouble. But my point is, like, everybody who's ever played for Coach Andrews loved him. So
no question.
The whole thing about tough love and coaching somebody hard is the player has to know that the coach cares about him. And if he cares about you, then he can say almost anything, because it's coming from a place where he's trying to make you better because he cares about you.
Exactly. And Coach Andrews will always emphasize, if you don't hear me say anything to you, then that's when you should be worried.
You got a problem.
That's the problem. If I'm not saying anything to you, now you should be overly concerned. But yeah, at that time, some of the things and what Coach Andrews were doing didn't really resonate because we're caught up in the moment. Football is a very, very emotional driven like game at times.
Sure.
But now you step away and you become older, you appreciate what he was saying, his coaching tactics and his methods and stuff like that. There's no other better, in my opinion, than Coach Andrews. I feel like my entire career, Jeff, I was in football heavy in regards to coaching. College, I had Bobby, Mickey. I go to Pittsburgh, I got Bill Cowher, Dick LeBeau.
Wow.
Bill Cowher leaves, I got Mike Tomlin, Dick LeBeau. Like every individual that coached me collegiately or professionally are Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers. So, Brian, really quick, and because we could do this all day. I'm loving this already. So I'll let you go on this note. And again, everybody, we're going to give you a chance to vote on the name of the show. We're going to be doing this.
Yeah. And also, too, Jeff, remember, there are a few names for our viewers to kind of chime in. And this is something that a quick list that I put together. And for you guys that want to add something to the repertoire, then let us know. Tomahawk Press is a name. Chop Talk is a name. First and Goal. Climb Watch. So those are only fours that I can think of. But for our fans, please let us know if you have a unique name that you would like our show to be. Just let us know. If you like one of the ones that I gave you, Tomahawk Press, Chop Talk, First and Goal, Climb Watch, let us know as well.
They'll respond. We'll get plenty. They're creative people out there, and then you and I will kick them around and decide what we like. I like it. Dick LeBeau is a legend for those who love football. And I always heard how smart he was and how complicated he could make defense. Did you right away know that you were being guided by somebody really special? What was it about Dick LeBeau? Because you will hear former players, and he's been a lot of places. When you hear them talk about Dick LeBeau, they almost all say, oh, the best there is, and they also bring up cerebral. So what was it about Dick LeBeau that immediately stood out to you?
Even kill. He never allowed the moment to become too big. He never raised his voice. One thing about Dick LeBeau, every day he started our team meeting the same defensively. It's a great day to be alive, man. That's how he walked into the meeting. And that really was important for us, especially in the month of November, when it's hard on your body, mentally and physically. You know, you're midway through the season, you're hurting, mentally you're drained. He walks in, it's a great day to be alive. So let's go get it done. Let's take advantage of it. Treat every day like it's a game 7, like there's no tomorrow, right? But then when you look at what he did as a player, 60-plus interceptions, one of the best defensive backs to ever play in the game, and he was so instinctive. Man, Dick LeBeau was such a cool individual. And I used to always love talking to him during practice just about football. And one cool story I have with Dick LeBeau, I used to always consider myself to be a historian of the game. So playing for Dick LeBeau, of course, you know, he was quote unquote the mastermind of the fire zone concept, which is basically a man zone concept where you're bringing pressure. So one day at practice, when we weren't involved, the offense was going against the scout D. And every day in practice, when he's not coaching, he was in his late 60s at the time, early 70s, he's doing push-ups. So when he's not coaching, he's doing reps of push-ups, right? So I walked over to him. I said, Coach LeBeau, I got a question for you. He's like, what's happening, Matt? Sounding like Clint Eastwood a little bit. You feel me? Dirty Harry. Yeah, raspy. What's up, Matt? I said, Coach, why everybody want to give you credit for creating a fire zone? So I'm kind of messing with him. Like, why are you the fire zone creator? Like, who said that was okay to give you that title? He said, well, let me share a story with you. He said one day while he was playing with Detroit, remember Dick LeBeau played with Night Train Lane and Barney, you know what I mean? Lim Barney, Hall of Famers, right? He said, they were playing against someone. This is during a game, actually. So they break the huddle, and it's a cover 2 called. So LeBeau and Train on the same side. There's 2 receivers to their side, right? Night Train Lane looks at Dick LeBeau and said, Dickie, I'm blitzing. So Coach LeBeau said, Train, what you mean you blitzing? We're playing cover 2. You can't blitz. It's 2 receivers to our side. Train says, I don't care, Dickie. I'm blitzing. I'm gone. So Coach LeBeau says, well, Train, what you want me to do? How am I covering 2 guys? He said, get it done, but I'm gone. So literally, that's how the fire zone concept was created. It happened in the flow of Dick Night Train Lane. If you don't know anything about Dick Night Train Lane, Hall of Fame, one of the best to ever do it. Rookie year had 14 interceptions, a record that still stands to this day. Decided to blitz in a cover 2, and they brought unexpected pressure. But Dick LeBeau was responsible for 2 wide receivers, you know what I mean, that were in the route concept. And he said that's where the fire zone concept came from. And I was like, wow. So just so many unique stories I can share with you with Dick LeBeau. But that's the concept. And over to my right, you guys can see one of our staple fire zones. I have a poster in this frame. It was Sound Fire Zone. Dick LeBeau, he created that defense in 1988. And it's something that's still a staple in football to this day. Sound Fire Zone, which is bringing nickel edge pressure. You have the outside contained player as the contained player. The nickel replaces the edge rusher, and now he's an inside blitzer. That's something that has been ran consistently, not just in the NFL, Jeff, but college, high school. And he created that defense. I have it framed over there. 1988 is when he created Sound Fire Zone. So that's just the type of player he was and coach he was. And that story right now still resonates to me to this day because I'm like, what? That's how it happened. But it makes sense.
It makes sense. And because of it, it's like most things that get invented, it's out of necessity. He had to figure out a way in the moment.
During the game, he said, Night Train Lane said, I'm blitzing in cover 2. Like, and at that time, that's never been done before. No one ever saw that at that time.
That's too good. That's too good. See, this is kind of fun we're gonna have, man, and we'll learn a lot about football on a week-to-week basis. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining me on the Jeff Cameron Show. I'll see you Thursday. Same with everybody else that's going to be tuning in. We're going to have a fun year. This is going to be great. Florida State's on the verge of doing special things. We want to welcome Bryant McFadden into the family here. He's always been part of the Seminole family, of course, and he's doing stuff with us now on Warchant. We'll be talking a lot, brother. It's good to talk to you, man. Thanks for the stories, and I'll talk to you on Thursday, okay?
Yes, sir. And hey, Jeff, I can't wait to hear what the fans have for us as our show name. I'm so excited.
Perfect. We're going to find out. I bet we'll get 100 of these at least. There's got to be a good name in there. There's got to be, right?
Yes, sir.
Be good, man. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey, everybody, the perfect fireplace makes your house a home. How's your fireplace looking? Not too well? Hearth and Patio can help you with that. Actually, Hearth and Patio can help you with anything fire. Give my friends a call at Hearth and Patio. If you need new fireplace upgrade, fireplace repair, you need custom outdoor kitchen, grills, or an amazing fireplace for your backyard. 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282. Or you can visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth Patio Tallahassee. They keep the home fires burning.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
That was great. That was fun. Appreciate Bryant McFadden. We'll react to it on the other side in hour number 2 in a moment. First, though, I want to thank Terry's Pool Service for supporting our Jeff Cameron Show Warchant Charity Golf Tournament for a second consecutive year. Thank you very much, Terry's Pool Service. If you're still trying to get that pool into shape, there's nothing wrong with asking for a little help from Terry's Pool Service. Spring is just about here, and your family is expecting to see a backyard paradise with green water, yellow pollen, and a collection of who knows what in that corner over there. You're going to need help, and you'll need it fast. Needless to say, calling Terry's Pool Service will help save your pool. Check them out at terryspools.net. terryspools.net, or call 850-580-7334 because you never know when you'll need them. Terry's Pool Service. We do appreciate Terry's. Thank you very much, guys.
It's 2 weeks from tomorrow, buddy. Got to get in full swing. No pun intended here. We got to get in good shape for this thing.
Yeah, and you bring up full swing. I just, ever since I've watched that Netflix series, all I can think about is what's his face? The guy who wears the cap, the big doofus hat, who had cancer. It was episode 4. Why am I forgetting his name? I'll think of it in a second. He's one of my favorite golfers, and I cannot remember his name now.
Did he win a major?
No, he's never won a major. I'll think of his name in a second. People are screaming it at their TVs or at their video right now. When we come back, I'll tell you his name. That's ridiculous on my part. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at ffbic.com.
This is Rusty Hunt with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me today at 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM.
Hey man, have you heard the sound? The Alpha Jewelry's the best in town. Rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. Pins Alpha Jewelry Store.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalpha and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalpha.
Pentalpha Jewelry, Pentalpha Jewelry, Pentalpha Jewelry, the real nice guys.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FREE for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FREE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FREE for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
NCAA Tournament Sweet 16 today. Creighton laying 10 against Princeton. Double-digit underdogs. 15-6-1 against the spread. In the Sweet 16 since 2011, 74% of the money on Princeton to cover its 10-point underdogs. Track where the money is flowing for every game on the board at VSIN.com. Betting splits. Alabama laying 7.5 against San Diego State. Houston, the 7.5-point favorite over Miami. Texas laying 4.5 against Xavier. College baseball today. The Florida Gators, $1.25 favorite at Ole Miss. Florida State, a plus 155 underdog at Virginia. Cavaliers, $1.90 home favorite. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at VSIN.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Get ready, because Scott's is taking over daylight saving time. It's such a big event that we're calling it day-long saving time. And now it's got real savings. In fact, it's the biggest deals of the year. Audacious? Absolutely. So don't wait. Stock up early and you'll be able to save up to $20 on Scott's Triple Action and Easy Seed products today at the Home Depot and Lowe's. Offers available March 9th through 22nd at select U.S. stores while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See store for exact offers.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants to polos and khakis to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roastmaster himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
Tallahassee's favorite family-owned Apple and Mac product stores moved to an all-new location. Mac & More Systems is now located at 230 John Knox Road. Same great people, same great services, same great prices, all at a new location. Mac & More offers computer and Apple device sales, one-on-one consulting, business services, and the most experienced Apple repair team in the city. Learn how to get the most out of your Apple gear. Come by and say hi to the Mac & More Systems team today at their new location, 230 John Knox Road.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Appreciate you joining us. Glad you're here. Appreciate that very much. It was a fun last hour. By the way, Joel Damon is the answer, everybody. Joel Damon. The second we went to break, Tom and I were like, oh, Joel Damon, what's wrong with us? Anyhow, I like him. He's worth rooting for. Back to what we were saying. Last hour, Bryant McFadden joined the program. If you missed that, go find it. When you're done listening to this hour, it'll be posted in the podcast, Warchant TV, all that good stuff. I'm looking forward to joining forces with Bryant McFadden. I'm glad he's joined us at Warchant. He's going to provide some great insight. His football knowledge is in depth, obviously, and he's also entertaining, so that helps. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. But we need a name for the show, so don't forget for the show that we're doing tomorrow at 7 o'clock and moving forward with me and Bryant McFadden, feel free to offer up on the boards at warchant.com or via email, jeff@warchant.com. That'll work. I loved picking his brain about Dick LeBeau. Tom, I thought it'd be you and me because we had those moments when Jameis had to go against Dick LeBeau when he was with the Titans, and we were like, oh man, this is gonna suck. And that's the Marcus Mariota game, right?
Yeah, that was both of their debuts. So everybody was looking at the two quarterbacks in the draft, and who made the right call, the over-analysis, the overreaction. And one is facing a defense that they've seen. The Tampa 2 was new when I was a kid. Tampa 2 was a revolutionary concept. I was not a rookie in the year 2015. I was not a rookie in the NFL. And at that point, I was 29 years old. So, yeah, when I was 13, it was new. Tampa 2, Monty Kiffin, Tony Dungy, what they could do sideline to sideline with the linebackers. If you had
Derek Brooks made that defense, yes.
You could drop them into the middle third if you wanted to. Rondé Barber was an all-everything weapon in the slot as well. A lot of fun that you could have, especially with that front four. But kids have been training for that specific defense since the turn of the century. Marcus Mariota was ready for what he was going to see against Lovie Smith.
And on the other side, it was Dick LeBeau, who is a defensive mastermind, a Hall of Famer, and has made veteran quarterbacks look bad, let alone rookies. And so all he did was engineer a pick six to start Jameis Winston's career, and we weren't shocked by it at all. But it was cool to listen to him talk about Dick LeBeau and how Dick LeBeau would sit around at practice and do push-ups in between plays, and he's an old man, and he's out there doing push-ups, which is really, really cool. And we'll have some interesting conversations. I'm really excited to talk with Bryant about secondary play. I mean, he can talk about the entirety of defensive play and offensive play, obviously. But this is an interesting year for Florida State secondary. They have a chance to get a lot better, and they got a lot of people to throw at the problem. So they've got opportunities to take a big step forward. And I think that's where the real intrigue for Florida State football lies. It's not in the offense that we just got done talking about last hour. The offense is going to be great. Really, even on their bad days, this offense should score close to 30 points or north of 30 points every game. They just have so many weapons and so many ways to beat you, and they have so much depth. So really, even if you pull starters, you've got guys that are quality coming in. I just see really no way that they get shut down this year all that frequently, unless there's just some silly errors or inclement weather or whatever it might be. Whereas the defense last year, I was disappointed in. I know they went on the long stretch where they played really well and the numbers bore that out. But I think we also know that those were bad teams and bad offenses they were facing that they got a lot of stops against. And then when they faced the good teams, and there weren't that many on the schedule last year, but every good team they did face, at least good offensive team, lit their ass up. And they really didn't have an answer for Oklahoma. They didn't have an answer for the University of Florida. They didn't have an answer for Clemson, certainly through the first three quarters. They didn't have an answer for Wake Forest. In total, I mean, they did for a while. The offense let them down there, but Wake still moved the ball, obviously.
Well,
and then LSU even.
Yeah, the thing I'd say is when Fabian Lovett was fully healthy, it was a very small part of the season.
Yeah, it was one game.
It was one game. They looked different. When he was close to healthy, they looked pretty good. You're going to have more Fabian Lovetts on this roster.
Yes.
It's not just a one-man show. You've got a guy who, potentially speaking, in Darrell Jackson, could even be more impactful than Fabian, but consistency is what we're going to be looking for out of him. Braden Fisk looks the part, moves around like the part.
He does.
We'll see when the green jersey comes off and it's replaced by full contact as we get into fall camp, just exactly how that looks. Josh Farmer looks to be a far improved player, and then some of those younger guys are developing. Ayo Tafasi was out there at practice yesterday.
Big development there, guys. Big development there. I'm a big Tafasi guy. If you've been listening to this show, you know that. And we've been asked a lot about it. Sorry, Tom, I interrupted you, but I wanted to note the Tafasi appearance. And that's good news because a lot of people have been asking, where's Tafasi? Where's Tafasi? It was my understanding that he was just dealing with a little aggravation of something. And, they want to take it slow. They want to be careful. But he's out there now, and that's important because I think he's potentially a really good player.
Well, maybe he was there the whole time. I just know that our cameras spotted him yesterday, and so therefore everybody gets to see Ayo Tafasi on Warchant TV. If you look at that practice footage, we do a great job. Aslan, fantastic with what he does. Actually, yesterday's footage is really, really cool because it shows you the controlled chaos of practice in a confined area of the IPF in bad weather conditions. Aslan puts on a master class of, this is not easy with those cameras zooming in, zooming out, and whipping around across the field. You see offensive drills going the same time as defensive drills. I really encourage you all to check that out on the channel. It's a good look at practice. But 91, that's the number that Tafasi wears now. 91 was on the field, ready to go. With that depth, it's going to help everybody look better.
Yeah.
There's going to be a question about defensive end with Derek McClendon's departure, at least when it comes to the depth of that position. Maybe not the explosiveness and the game-changing ability, but the depth of it. But our running game, and by that I mean our rush defense, was awful when we didn't have our frontline guys out there. There are more frontline guys, so that helps change the conversation. One thing I'll be interested to hear from BMAC on as the show develops and matures, some of the stories he has about Patrick Surtain. These are contemporaries at the NFL level. These are contemporaries in college as well. But Surtain had a decorated career at the National Football League level. They did cross paths, and apparently they have befriended each other. That's what Ira tells me. So to hear some of the backstories about how this particular position coach for Florida State came to be as a well-rounded NFL citizen, because he was coaching back in the NFL last year, as a high school coach who won state championships and has a son that's one of the best defensive backs in the league and went to Alabama. Who is that guy? How is he going to teach it? What did you see from his film when he was a player? I mean, this is a very important position at a very important time for Florida State. Moreover, you've got Omarion Cooper, who apparently, by the coaching staff's assessment, is doing good things as he starts out his career at safety. Well, BMAC played both. So you can hear the challenges and the nuances. You can hear about those details about moving back and forth and what those positions ask of you, even now in the modern game that is becoming more and more positionless. I'll be interested to hear all those things, and it's going to be a riveting watch.
Surtain could hit, and I remember his career at Southern Miss, and I remember his NFL career very well. obviously, I was a big fan of his, and you're right, that will be fun to get insight, to glean insight as to the player he was and how did BMAC differ from him and really what he sees. I think it's such an important year for Adam Fuller. I've said that before. Adam is a guy that I just personally speaking like. He's a nice guy to talk to. He's an intriguing guy. He's interesting. What makes him tick? He is football all the time. Loves football. I mean, has a passion for the game, and you want to see that out of your guys. Everybody's different. And sometimes, we get this opportunity to talk to coaches, and you can tell that wouldn't be the coach that you hung out with off the field, that there's a guy that you just would, you'd work with him, and he's professional and he's good at what he does, but your personalities don't mesh. Other times there are guys you meet and you could tell you'd want to be around them all the time, that they're a lot like you, or it's for whatever reason you just jive well together. And I feel like he's that guy. Adam is fun to talk to about football because he's so excited about football. He wants to talk about all facets of the game and the hard work that goes into it. And he brags on his players. But the bottom line is they weren't good on defense last year. The numbers, I don't think, tell the story. And some of the numbers do. Some of the advanced metrics do. When you adjust for the offenses that they faced, it does tell some of the story, which is not a good one. I need it to tell a good story this year. And Adam needs it to tell a good story this year because, again, I don't think we're going to be focused on the offense all that much. I think we're going to know the offense is going to put up points. We're going to be looking at this defense. And in the modern era, defenses don't get a ton of stops. They need to be able to hold people to 24 or below is kind of the way I look at it. If you're playing a good offense, the advantages are built in on offense. The game is called in such a way from an officiating standpoint that offenses have all the leverage, all the advantages, especially in college football. In college football, they just let offenses cheat. You basically can be 3 to 5 yards down the field as an offensive lineman on a pass play. They let them do it all the time. Now, in the NFL, they don't go for that nonsense. They throw the flag the second they see it. And that is the biggest difference between defensive football in the NFL and defensive football in college football, in that you can't key in on what the play is going to be based on the offensive lineman's movements the way you can in the NFL. And it's a shame. But to my point, I don't look for shutouts anymore. I don't look for 14-point efforts in which the defense dominates the day and gives up a couple of cheapies in the fourth quarter. I just want to see a team that goes against a good offense and can hold them to 24 or less. Because if they do that, they'll win every game they play this year.
Well, and I don't think that's a crazy statement. They could and they should win every game this year. If you hold Clemson to 24 or fewer and LSU to 24 or fewer, you're going to win those football games.
Yeah, Miami, Florida, Clemson, LSU, all of them, 24 or less, you'll win the game.
Miami, my God.
Well, I've given them benefit of the doubt that they'll be better in year 2.
Maybe they'll hang the banner over the 35 at the IPF that they have there if they score more than 24 on defense this year. But to me, what excites me about this defense is I believe that they have a chance to win first down a hell of a lot more this year than they have in years past, because not only do you have more frontline defensive interior players, and we know you got Jared Verse, so that's 3/4 of the equation right there. You have the position versatility, and they talked about it as early as February on the record when Adam Fuller spoke to you one-on-one here on the channel on Warchant TV. Hey, like and subscribe. He was talking about how they could go 4 defensive tackles across the board if they needed to in a certain matchup. That maybe they'll have a 5 defensive lineman look. What that tells me is that if they see an opponent that wants to establish a presence on the ground, they've got the weapons to deploy and counter that, put them in a 2nd and 9 and a 2nd and 8. I think in general this year, with the ability to rotate in the interior, keep those guys fresh, which means that the lanes should be cleaner for the linebackers here, you've got a better chance to put teams in 2nd and 8 and more with greater consistency. And if you can win first down, I know that Jared Verse and Patrick Payton can help us on 3rd down, and you improve the secondary a little bit, you could see how it gets easier to put together the ingredients for a stop. Last year, especially the last 2 football games, the line of scrimmage was reset on this defensive line with consistency. by Florida and by a lot of backups for Oklahoma. And that would happen on first down when the whole world knew it was coming. It's not like Oklahoma dropped back and threw the ball 40 times in that football game. Right. They were able to run it down our throat. But if they're in 2nd and 8 or more, our opponents, I know we're going to be okay on third down. It's just a matter of bridging that gap in between. I think they can win first down more. That's how I get excited about this group.
The other thing to point out, and I think this is important because I thought last year there were times we did win on first down and we still were too predictable on third down. And if you slowed Jared Verse down, or when he was playing hurt and you didn't have anybody but Patrick Payton getting pressure on the quarterback, then you still saw a lot of third down conversions, third and behind the chain conversions, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7 type stuff. And the reason for that was we couldn't diversify our coverages. And you know as well as I do that, I'm a broken record on this. We can't play zone. We've yet to play zone with any effectiveness consistently. There are, yes, you can go to a game and say, here, Jeff, we're in zone. We played well here. But it's few and far between, and we didn't consistently do it. And the diversification of looks up front, the diversification of looks on the back end that we now we hope, can execute really changes the game because quarterbacks were never confused. They were never confused against us.
And we couldn't finish. That's the other thing that drove me nuts. And that was one of the great video breakdowns on the channel last year was D-Rob's breakdown of the Wake Forest film when he had the All-22. And he shows how in each quarter, because Wake built up that lead and we got better as the game went along. But in each quarter, there are multiple examples of a defensive back being in position to make a play.
And didn't make a play.
Teamed up and can't finish the GD play. And it drives you nuts because it's like, well, I'm asking
your grand reward.
The hard part is getting there. And I'm drawing the map for the kid. There's no GPS here. I'm drawing it on a map. Here's how you get to where you need to be. They're there. Now finish the freaking play.
Yeah.
I will say I feel better about that as well this year. And it's not just because they got a new defensive back coach. Greedy Vance in particular is somebody who improved an awful lot from the beginning of the season. And he had an awful whiff in the Wake Forest game. But between the beginning of the season and the end, Greedy was a different player, and he has been outstanding, I think, in camp. He has been getting downhill, contacting in all the legal ways.
Yeah.
When he first got on campus, I thought, you're too slow. You're going to have to put your hands on guys.
Well, he put his hands on everybody, on every play.
And it was not the good kind of contact. Now he's got the ability to fire down on the ball. We talked about this in the show last week, that Robert Scott missing camp. That's important, and it doesn't guarantee that he's going to come back and be the left tackle for Florida State. Well, Kevin Knowles missing spring camp is a big deal too, because it looks to me like Greedy Vance, if they want to play him at slot, has a really, really good chance to just lock that position down. And then you could build from there. Renardo Green was solid. Can you do better? Can he find a better home? We'll see, but he was solid. Now Ventrell Cypress, let's see if he continues to get up to speed. He's been up and down to start his Florida State career, but it's his first spring camp in a new scheme. It's just, I could start to put together the building blocks to finish plays. Those are the best secondaries in the country, in college, or in the pros. The guys who, when they get a chance to make a game-changing play, put their hands on the ball and they keep the ball, and you get it. We didn't have that last year.
The lone exception to this, and I don't think it'll be better or that much better, is when teams isolate our linebackers in coverage. And they did it all of last year. When they make our linebackers cover, it's not their forte. They're not great at it. And I don't think they will be this year either. But every defense has a weakness. And so, they're not perfect.
Also, if you're in a position where it's third and obvious, like they would have to do that early in the downs.
Yeah.
If you're in a position where it's third and obvious, and let's say that you cultivate enough options in the secondary, specifically at safety, like you like the development of Amari Cooper, Travis Jay continues to be solid for you. Akeem Dent's on this roster. We haven't talked about him a whole lot. And then Shaheem Brown could be one of your stars in the secondary in general. There's no rule that says that, you got to have two linebackers out there on 3rd and 9.
Well, and they'll utilize the number game that you're talking about. They have a lot of bodies and athletes in the secondary, and I think they will utilize that to their advantage and play more defensive backs than the normal defense that you look at across college football, because it's an area, particularly this year, of strength, we think. And I'm not talking about domination. I'm just talking about the number of guys that can do it. So I think you're right. I think that there may be times where you only have Deloach out there or only have Tatum out there as your linebacker, and you have somebody else playing the role of a linebacker who's a safety.
Yeah, my concern so far, we talked about it in the first hour briefly. You need to have more options in the middle of the offensive line on offense. It's a small concern. I think they're going to be okay otherwise. On defense, it's actually outside corner. Ventrell Cypress has to lock that down. I haven't seen anything yet.
No.
And again, it's very early.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything yet where I walk away from practice or walk out of practice and say, yep, that's the guy they wanted. That's locked down. Don't have to worry about him. It isn't that way yet. I feel better about slot corner than I do outside corner at this point. So there's some, work that needs to be done. But if they could find some answers there, I feel a hell of a lot better about this defense. The baseline expectation, though, personally, I don't know about you, I feel like they're going to be improved just because the depth on that up front would help facilitate the world for them and that they didn't have last year.
100%. We are in total agreement. They're going to be a better defense this year than they were last. How much better? That's all we're asking. How much better can they be? We think that it all is fueled by the defensive front, the interior of this defensive line. I don't believe, if healthy, I don't think they're getting run on. When you talk about Farmer getting much better than he was a year ago, and now you got Tafasi in there, and obviously you brought in Darrell Jackson, who's a beast. And then you got to get the most out of Darrell Jackson, but it's a money year, right? He's got to play well. And Fabo healthy. I mean, come on. They ought to be really good up front. And if they are, you're right. You're going to have offenses behind the chains on the regular. Tomorrow is opening day. We're going to be at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Yay, opening day. Yay, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Appalachia Parkway. I love baseball. And I love baseball because I still watch it despite the fact that the Pirates have had, I think, a total, I was thinking about this earlier today, I think it's 3 winning seasons in the last, 40 years, 30 years.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't win a lot, Tom. I don't know if you noticed, the Pirates don't win a lot. They went to the playoffs, was that 2015, 2016, 2017, something like that? 3 years in a row?
Yeah.
And then we haven't been anywhere close to the playoffs since. It's brutal. I want to read something to you, Tom. Here it is. Just for fun and giggles, guys. And maybe you'll empathize with me as a Pirates fan. The Pittsburgh Pirates franchise has been around since 1882. They were the Pittsburgh Alleghenies back then, and they played in the American Association. In 141 seasons, they have only lost 100 games in a season 3 consecutive times once. Now think about that's pretty amazing, right? From 52 to 54, they lost 100 games in each of those seasons. It's the only time in that franchise's history that it's happened, and they've been playing since 1882. That could happen again this year because they went 61 and 101 in 2021. They went 62 and 100, improving by a full game, Tom, last year in 2022. And, the COVID year, they were 19 and 41, I might note. 19 and 41, guys. So there's a chance that they lose 100 games again this year, and they'll match that dubious honor from 52 to 54. It's painful. It's painful, guys. It was 2013 through 2015. I had it wrong. That's how long ago it was for the Pirates with those playoff appearances, buddy. I was in second heaven. The Noles were winning national championships in 29 straight games, and the Pirates were in the playoffs, winners of 98 games. I didn't know it at the time, but my sports life could not get any better than that simultaneously. But here we sit on the verge of losing 100 games for the 3rd straight year. So that's my fandom.
So since and including 1993, I'm about to list off the 80-plus win seasons in Pittsburgh Pirates history. So,
you ready? I'm going to see if in 92, they went 82. What?
It's 93 to present, so 92 doesn't count.
Oh, okay. So 2018.
2018 is an 82-win season.
Yes.
That's
yes.
one.
Yeah, and then I went back and just told you 2013 through 2015, and I think we're done here.
You are. That is 4 times since 1993 you have won 80 or more games. Not 90, 80 or more baseball games in a season.
Yeah, that's how many times, guys? 4. 4 times. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so I had somebody get mad at me when I said that I hoped Robert Nutting died. And he's the owner of the Pirates, Bob Nutting. And I said something flippantly on the show last week, and a guy sent me an email. He was angry when I wished that he would incur a fiery death in a car crash. And I first of all, stop being a literalist. Of course I don't root for the man to die in a fiery car crash. What I am saying is if he does, it's, it's not the end of the world. I wouldn't spend a lot of time thinking about what a shame it was that Robert Nutting perished in a fiery car crash. And it's because we've won 4 games or 4 winning seasons since 1993. There are 4. Baseball opening day, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. It's going to be a blast. Appalachian Parkway. We take on the Reds. I'm sure the Braves will be great. They'll be playing at 4 o'clock, I believe. Are they playing the Padres?
That could be. All I know is that we got Sandy Alcantara tomorrow. The Mets do, so F&A cotton.
I say Alcantara, God dog it.
I know.
And it is 4 o'clock for the no, I was wrong. The Braves play at 1 o'clock against the Washington Nationals, and it's Max Fried and Patrick Corbin. Today's show is the last show without probables. That just makes me giddy. I just get excited.
Yeah, your early window games include, it's Braves, Nats, as you said, Giants, Yankees. That's weird and cool. That's weird and very cool. Orioles, Red Sox. All right, Ira. Where you at, Ira?
Yep.
2:10. That's a 2:10 p.m. first pitch. Brewers, Cubs at 2:20. Detroit, Tampa Bay at 3:10. So those are the first couple hours of opening day. It is a crime that we don't have an 11 o'clock first pitch in Cincinnati. Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred have just decided to defecate on Cincinnati and its traditions on opening day. But short of fixing that issue, we do have some good matchups in the first couple of hours. That'll be fun.
Yeah, the Pirates are throwing Mitch Keller. The Reds are throwing Hunter Green, and I hope Hunter Green gives up 15 runs in the first. And I have a reason to smile at least once this year. It's on opening day. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Motorcycle accident? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
At Epps Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Whitten Glass has been taking care of families since 1945.
Experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best, like Whitten's top-of-the-line bath enclosures. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whitten Glass, and they provide precise installation.
Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass. Online at whittenglass.com. Call 850-222-5781.
At Pinch A Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas, it's prime time hot tub season. And after a long, stressful day, there's nothing like soaking in a hot tub with all that steam. And it has lots of great health benefits, too. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas is your true hot tub headquarters. Save today on the hot tub of your dreams at prices you can afford. Come and shop our 12,000 square foot showroom and find the right model for you. With over 50 hot tubs in stock, you're sure to find the one that's just right. And for a limited time, take advantage of a free spa cover with purchase of your new hot tub. That's around a $400 value, completely free with your purchase. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch A Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come see us at 2473 Greer Road. Pick out your hot tub and enjoy your free cover. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Infinity of Tallahassee.
It's time for you to step up to worry-free car ownership with Infinity's new Premium Care program. It's included on all 2023 vehicles, whether you lease or buy. It's free maintenance for up to 3 years. It's just another step forward in Infinity of Tallahassee's tradition of providing top-rated customer service. You see, once you step up to Infinity, customers rarely ever step back. Here are just a few of the covered services with Infinity of Tallahassee's Premium Care program. Oil changes and tire rotations, covered. Inspections, covered. Brake fluid changes, covered. In-cabin air filter replacement, covered. And the list goes on. And remember, the program is included with the purchase or lease of any 2023 Infinity. The best part, Mike C., who has been at Kraft for 20 plus years, has been promoted to Infinity Service Manager. Mike will ensure that you are truly getting top shelf, white glove, worry-free service on your new Infinity. Just another reason so many people in North Florida and South Georgia are turning to Infinity of Tallahassee for a true high-end auto experience.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Vaccine preventable diseases still exist in the United States and all around the world. You have the power to protect yourself, your family, and your community. To learn more, visit vaccinateyourfamily.org.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
I do feel like in my lifetime, I'm getting to a point now where I should stop saying that. You know, Tony Gwynn died. He was only 54 years old. I'm 51. I mean, you know, you think about those things. Miss Tony Gwynn. But like, I for years would say, well, in my lifetime, they'll be good. They'll get it together. And they did. The Pirates won, as I said, 13 through 15. They were very good. Hosted playoff games. It was fun. But, you know, I shouldn't make these assumptions anymore. I have far less life left to be just throwing out there that they'll be good in my lifetime. I'm running out of time, guys. Running out of time. I need the Pirates. I need Robert Nutting to sell the damn team. And I need him to sell it to Mark Cuban. Because Mark Cuban would do what your owner's doing. He would pour money into it.
Yep. Well, they're changing the financial structure of MLB. I mean, God forbid that the Mets decide to go spend like crazy. The Angels can do it forever. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the earlier iteration of the Mets. But whoa, $300 million. Let's try and force a salary cap on MLB. Get the hell out of here with that.
Well, I don't want a salary cap, but admittedly, your owner is crazy and is throwing insane numbers at baseball rosters that nobody's ever seen before. And I know it doesn't break your heart, and that's fine. But they do got to get a handle on this thing. What are we doing here? You got to just clown over here throwing $500 million at a roster. It's crazy. So what I would say. You better win it all. You better win it all. It's ridiculous.
I love it, though. He says we spend the money to put ourselves in the best position. But, you know, baseball doesn't always guarantee that. It's true. It's true. That is the right approach. Look, man, even if you got pocket rockets in Hold'em, when the community cards come out,
yeah, you don't know.
Not a 99% likelihood that you're going to win the hand just because you got pocket aces. You lose a lot of the time with aces. You got to fold a lot of the time with aces. So, yeah, just keep giving yourself the best chance, though.
Well, the biggest problem you have is your pitching staff is Methuselah. So it's you got a bunch of 100-year-olds out there hoping to get through the season.
Which Vegas is correctly, attuned to, because the win projection for the year is 91.5, which is low when you look on paper in a vacuum. But when you consider that, the two top pitchers of the Mets roster average age, or combined age is like 82, 83 years old. I think it's a smart provision.
The Pirates win projections, just if you were wondering, everybody, is 68 games. Six. By the way, if you want picks, I'm giving you one right now, everybody. Let's take Florida Atlantic +2 against San Diego State. Let's do that. Let's do that. You like that pick?
I will take a look at my metrics that have done very well for me, and I'll get back to you. But in theory, it sounds good. It does.
I like it. I'm rooting for them to win the national championship. I think it would be great. They're not going to. UConn is, but it would be cool if they won the national championship. I would root for that, and I think basketball is going to be weird for the foreseeable future. It's funny what's kind of dissipating in basketball. It's not good for the sport. Some people would say that it is. I disagree. I don't think it's good for the sport. You need villains. You need programs to hate like Duke. You need perennial powers that we all aspire to supplant and overcome. And I think year to year it's going to be different. I mean, we'll see. It's a little early in the game to say that, but I feel like we're watching this all play out in a very weird fashion. The Big Ten stinks every year when they get in there and they have all the money. The ACC has fallen to pieces to the point where Miami is the most consistent team this year. And, we know what Miami is traditionally, a whole lot of nothing. So there, you just look around. It's nuts. We knew it was going to be a wild tournament this year. I know you think on the back end of losing all these super seniors and 35-year-olds in the post that things are going to get back to normal. I'm not so sure.
Well, I think, again, this is just about one and dones aren't as effective when you've got mid-20-year-old players out there to counter them. And there just aren't going to be a whole lot of teams that have a bunch of super seniors, like not nearly as many as there are right now in 2 or 3 seasons. And then the one and done rosters, again, will be rewarded with a lot of Sweet 16, Elite 8 berths and so forth. Like that, I think that's where it's going to go back to. But I think what's going to be different is the name across the front of the jersey. Because basketball is a hell of a lot more affordable than football when you're trying to put together a super roster of one and dones, the guys that the G League are not going to claim. And so, I think for universities, I don't know about Florida Atlantic that you'll be able to do that, but the non-blue bloods of the world, you can buy yourself a really good crack at an Elite 8 or a Final Four. Look at Miami. They're doing it right now. That dude has unlimited resources, but it's a lot easier to field a basketball roster than it is an 85-man roster in football to put together a playoff competition or a playoff caliber roster for that particular sport.
It hurts college basketball that there are so many transfers. These teams are all made up of transfers, all of them. And they're not organic in any way. And then from there, it hurts these teams. I think it hurts the sport. Like the level of play is poor because guys now can come straight out of high school and they have a professional location to land. You referenced the G League. The 2 best players that just came out of high school are in the G League, by the way. They didn't go play college football. They're 2 superstars. They're going to be lottery picks, and they're going to be, these are the stars. And they went and played professional basketball. So it's like I feel like the sport's been hurt quite a bit. It's just a different landscape in sports right now. Collegiate sports are interesting. They're interesting. Some people say worse. Maybe so, but I do think the right thing is being done in a lot of ways, but they do have to get a handle on it. And I hate that everybody's just a collection of transfers.
I think we may be lamenting all of college sports a little bit more if our football program wasn't on, the way.
Oh, without question. Yeah.
It just seems like, and I don't feel like we're in the honeymoon period for Mike Norvell anymore because this is a year where results are going to do the most talking. Not feel good. That month of September is critical. You got to win at least one of those football games. And then from there, you can't have slip-ups. You can't have a Jacksonville State head scratcher. What the hell is this? Or an NC State performance like we had last year. You can't have that anymore. So I don't feel like we're in the honeymoon period anymore. But having said that, it just feels like we have found, at least at this point in the NIL era of college football, a wonderful middle ground between acquiring talent through NIL means and the transfer portal, and then also having kids that really want to come play for a head coach who is incredibly consistent and not a mercenary type, at least the way he presents himself to the public. Like it seems like if there is a harmonious area in this era of big time college football, expensive era of college football, we seem to be in one of the leaders in the clubhouse. Like we fired an open around 65 here. We look like we're positioned well for this weekend.
He's an asset from the portal, no doubt, because he is authentic. I said this yesterday. Mike's greatest strength is that it takes 2 seconds to watch him interact with players, for you to decipher that he truly loves those kids and he loves what football is for those kids and he loves what it was for him. It affected the whole of his life to the point where he dedicated himself to the sport because of what it meant to him. It comes across when you watch him coach, and that is a huge asset to have. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to hold him to a very high standard and he's got to win a ton of games just because he's a good guy, loves football, and loves how it gives him a chance to help these kids. No, you got to win games. It's not enough to be a good guy. That's wonderful. Bobby Bowden won a lot of games and was a really good guy. So I got you. But you got to do both. But you are positioned. You're correct. You're positioned to get a lot of guys because it doesn't take long for them to see that that's genuine.
Yeah, there was something, too, that Ira brought up. We did like an on-demand video instead of the Monday Smash because of power issues on the east side of Tallahassee. But I didn't realize this about the walk-on program at Florida State. And Ira has, done extensive study about the machine, not just what's going on at a practice on a Thursday, which, it's great work too, but that the walk-on program, these kids here at Florida State are about as well taken care of as any walk-on program in the country, to the point where they have an effective pitch for young men who might have an offer at the FCS level or the D2 or the D3 level, that this is actually a less expensive place to go if you're going to leave the state, because they take care of the meals. You have lodging taken care of. In terms of equipment, it's not whatever is left is what you get, and you're lucky to be here.
Right.
There's a first-class experience from the top down. And if you're taking care of walk-ons to such a place where they're going to choose Florida State over a full Scully somewhere else, that to me is another great indicator of the health and the consistency of the message, because it doesn't mean that the message is reserved only for the best players. The message is from everybody from the top on down. I just love hearing nuggets like that about the health of the program, because even the most basic details were forgotten in the last head coaching regime and the tail end of the previous head coaching regime.
Oh, it was in shambles by the time Jimbo left across the board. And then obviously Willie didn't have his ducks in a row when he got here either. So it is nice that we can say that about this program, and to the point now where we don't really talk about it too much, because all we're talking about is winning. All we're talking about is whether or not they're going to win enough games. You got to continue to build towards championship level play, and that's the standard they'll be judged by this year. You're right. It's not going to be, because when we're good, when Jimbo had us rolling, or when Bobby was at the height of his powers, the criticisms were always that you only played two teams that were capable of beating you. How did you do in those two games?
Yeah. Right. It feels an awful lot like that. I mean, I get that September. I get earlier means that there's a greater variance for the result. I get that.
Yeah.
And in theory, there's going to be 3, because if you handle business in the ACC outside of the Clemson game, chances are you're playing Clemson again. So there's 3 of these type games. You got to go 2-1 in that stretch. But here's a question. I think the answer to this is defined differently for everybody, but we like those kinds of questions. Is it going to be harder for Mike Norvell and this coaching staff to have a satisfactory on-field season in 2023 or a satisfactory 2024 recruiting class? I get that they're related to one another. If you have a good season on the field, it's going to help you get better recruits to say yes. But for you, what do you think is the harder thing for them to accomplish? Because I think that's the final off-the-field hurdle for them to check, which is to really throw their weight around recruiting in the high school game, not in the portal.
Oddly, I think it'll still be harder to do that. They haven't had the special season that means recruits say yes before you ever offer them. Mm-hmm. They're just they're desperate to come to Florida State the way they're desperate to go to Alabama, the way they're desperate to go to Georgia, because those teams won national championships, plural, and it's a no-brainer that when they call you, if you're a stud, you want to go to one of those two places. Clemson won national championships, and they are able to do that as well. We haven't done that yet. We've had a good season. And they still don't have those special relationships in the state. They're building it. They're getting closer. Their latest hire should help them quite a bit. The winning season this past year should help them quite a bit. But I think recruiting the high school ranks will be a bit more difficult still. I think they're going to win a lot of games this year. I think they're going to have a big season. and that'll help. But yeah, as of right now, I think it's going to be harder to have a top 5 class.
Yeah, you want go back to elementary school. If there was a subject that like you struggled in, and the teacher calls on you, and you got to execute, you got to give the right answer. You do, and the teacher goes, "Correct." Okay, all right. Like you hear the surprise in their voice. We got to get that surprise out of the kids' voices when they come visit campus and go, you know, Florida State is actually pretty good. I like what I'm doing here. You got to get that out of their voices to where when they know that they're in the car, on a plane, on the way to Tallahassee, they're going to be wowed. It's just a matter of, you know, are they the best of the elite 3 or 4? We're not
correct. That's exactly where they got to get to. That's right. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Come back, wrap it up just a moment.
Understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for over 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at ffbic.com.
This is Rusty Hunt with Florida Farm Bureau Insurance. Please call me today at 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM.
My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the 3rd one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, you know, bears have their own space. You got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying. Yes. I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinky. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay.
You know,
mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans. A mortgage experience is
Glory, that is opening day, the subject of this Tub Talk from our friends at Pinch a Penny as we wrap things up. Again, final day without probables at the back end of the show. So if you would, let's bubble it up, Tommy.
It's time for Tub Talk, brought to you by Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas.
I would love to bubble it up, but apparently the button doesn't want to cooperate. So I'm going to say it's time for Tub Talk. There
you go. Now, I can hear it.
Live to the
You can hear it?
Yeah, it's running, buddy. We can hear it.
I can't hear it. That's incredible.
Oh, you were talking over him. The bubbles sounded great. They sound great right now.
Oh, well,
You're not hearing them?
I'm the one who hit the button, and it's not playing in my headset.
I can hear it just fine, pal. Just fine. We're good to go. It's hopefully our listeners heard it because I heard it clear as a bell. Do yourself a favor. Go look up on YouTube Bill Murray. I've done this. Tom has seen the video, but I always like to watch it again. Bill Murray talking to the Charleston minor league. I guess he was being inducted into the minor league Hall of Fame for his ownership of that baseball team in Charleston, South Carolina that he has, the minor league team. And for whatever reason, why was the Yankees GM there? I don't know, but he was there presenting for him. And anyhow, so bottom line is he gets up to talk and everybody thinks he's going to be funny, and he's not. He chooses to tell a very touching story of the first opening day that he ever attended at Wrigley Field as a little kid, and his big brother covering his eyes before they walked out on the concourse, and then removing his hands and the greenest grass he had ever seen and the smells and sights and sounds of the ballpark. It's touching. It's very touching. It's also something that when we approach opening day, I think about for me as a little kid and remember as well the first time I ever went to a professional baseball game with my father, and I was a little kid. And oddly enough, we went to see the Detroit Tigers play at Tiger Stadium, the old Tiger Stadium, against the Chicago White Sox. And I think I was 7 or 8 years old. And he had an old Army buddy that he served with that lived in Detroit. And so we went to visit him And he said, hey, we're going to go to a big league ballpark. You're going to get to see the Tigers. Because there was no team in the state of Florida, as you recall, in my youth. And so that was the first time I ever went to a professional baseball game. And I remember being in awe of it was a night game, and of seeing the lights and then just the way that, if you can remember old Tiger Stadium, and we have no connection to Detroit other than my father's friend that was there, so I didn't care who won. But I just remember walking in and seeing that field and looking at the kind of the haze in the lights from the grill with all the burgers and hot dogs and stuff. And just, I freaking loved it. And I think about that all the time. I do. It's one of my most impressionable moments as a child. And it's, they show, every study says that you become a fan of a sport by either playing or attending that sport when you're a kid. So if you want a kid to love tennis, you take him to a tennis match or you teach him to play. If you want a kid to love baseball, and baseball's got to do a better job of this, produce a product that people want to go see and bring their kids to, because the kids will grow up baseball fans. And that is so true. Just being in a ballpark is a special feeling. It's not something that other sports replicate very well. Baseball does it better than most.
I'll keep it brief. Mine was Friday, July the 28th. I just looked it up. 2000 was my first day at Shea Stadium. Al Leiter was starting for the Mets against the Cardinals. The Mets, Armando Benitez closed the game. The Mets won 3-2. But with all, New York is better in the sense of seeing the green grass for what it is, because all there is concrete around you. So when you see green grass, like, oh my God, that's glowing. And I'll never forget that day, because even from the Loge level, which was the third, you could smell it. You could smell the clay of the dirt, and you could smell the grass. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah, there's nothing like it, man. Having a dog and a beer at the park is incredible. And as a kid, having a hot dog with your dad is incredible at a baseball game. I remember the first time I went to Three Rivers Stadium, which was a dump. I'm so glad that at least we have PNC Park. If we're going to lose 100 games, we're going to do it in a pretty setting. Our thanks to Bryant McFadden. Don't forget to send your suggestions for the name of the show. I enjoyed my conversation with him. We'll be talking tomorrow at 7 o'clock. I'll tell you about that. And tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for the Jeff Cameron Show. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys come out for opening day. Be well, everybody. Peace.